Welcome back to the timeline of American steel. In Part 1, we covered the birth of the battleship. Now, in Part 2, we are entering the era of the Super Dreadnought. This is where the designs got smarter, the armor got thicker, and the guns got big enough to sink an enemy over the horizon. From the muddy trenches of WWI to the guided missiles of Desert Storm, this is the golden age of the American battleship. We start with the standard type battleships, BB-36 to BB-48. This was a tactical shift. The Navy wanted a battle line where every ship had similar speed and turning circles, creating an impenetrable wall of steel. The Nevada-class BB-36 USS Nevada, the first super dreadnought, she introduced the all-or-nothing armor scheme, heavily protecting the vitals and letting the rest of the ship take the hits. She is famous for her heroic burning run for the Channel during the Pearl Harbor attack. BB-37 USS Oklahoma, a name etched in sorrow. She capsized after taking multiple torpedo hits at Pearl Harbor, trapping hundreds of men inside. She was a total loss, a grim reminder of the cost of war. The Pennsylvania-class BB-38 USS Pennsylvania, the fleet flagship, a massive leap in displacement, mounting 12 14-inch guns. She was in dry dock during Pearl Harbor and fought back, going on to crush Japanese installations across the Pacific. BB-39 USS Arizona, the Eternal Sentinel. She was the pride of the fleet until an armor-piercing bomb detonated her magazine in 1941. She rests on the bottom of Pearl Harbor, a sacred memorial to the start of the Pacific War. The New Mexico-class BB-40 USS New Mexico, the Queen. She was refitted with a distinct clipper bow and massive tower bridge. She survived multiple kamikaze hits at Okinawa to keep her guns firing in support of the Marines. BB-41 USS Mississippi, the Old Miss. She saw brutal combat in the Surigao Strait, taking part in the last battleship-on-battleship engagement in history, delivering the final blow to the Japanese fleet. BB-42 UUSS Idaho, the Big Spud. She was a relentless bombardment platform, shelling Iwo Jima and Okinawa until her barrels were practically worn smooth. The Tennessee-class BB-43 USS Tennessee, one of the Big Five. Damaged at Pearl Harbor, she was rebuilt into a modern fortress. Her radar-directed gunfire in the Surigao Strait was so accurate she was hitting targets in total darkness before they knew she was there. BB-44 USS California, the Prune Barge. Sunk at Pearl Harbor, she was raised from the mud, refitted, and sent back to the fight. She took her vengeance in the Pacific, earning 7 battle stars. The Colorado-class BB-45 USS Colorado, the first of the 16-inch heavy hitters. She missed Pearl Harbor due to a refit, which meant she was one of the few fully operational battleships available to hold the line in the early desperate days of the war. BB-46 USS Maryland, Fighting Mary. She was moored inboard of the Oklahoma at Pearl and survived. She immediately went on the offensive, using her massive 16-inch guns to support island-hopping campaigns from Tarawa to Okinawa. BB-48 USS West Virginia, the Wee V. She took massive damage at Pearl Harbor but was raised and completely rebuilt. She led the battle line at Surigao Strait, firing the first salvo that gutted the Japanese battleship Yamashiro. BB-47 USS Washington, the Ghost. She was nearly complete when the Washington Naval Treaty was signed. Politicians killed her to keep the peace. She was towed out and sunk as a gunnery target, a warrior that never got her fight. Finally, we switch gears to the fast battleships, BB-55 to BB-64. The treaties were dead. War was coming. These ships were designed to keep pace with the new queens of the ocean, the aircraft carriers. The North Carolina-class BB-55 USS North Carolina, the Showboat, the first American battleship built in nearly 2 decades. She packed 9 16-inch guns and enough anti-aircraft firepower to blot out the sun, acting as the ultimate bodyguard for carriers. BB-56 USS Washington, the Brawler. She holds the distinction of winning a one-on-one duel with a Japanese battleship at night. At the Battle of Guadalcanal, she sneaked up on the Kirishima and turned it into scrap metal in minutes with radar-guided precision. The South Dakota-class 1939 BB-57 USS South Dakota. Battleship X. Engineers shortened the hull but kept the armor thick, creating a compact, incredibly tough nut to crack. She was the most decorated battleship of the war, famous for shooting down dozens of enemy planes. BB-58 USS Indiana, a compact powerhouse. She spent her career in the Pacific, bombarding shorelines and colliding with the USS Washington in a confused night action, proving that her armor could take a hit from a friend just as well as a foe. BB-59 USS Massachusetts. Big Mamie. She holds the record for firing the first and last 16-inch shells of the war. She famously dueled the French battleship Jeanne Bart in North Africa, putting a shell right through her deck and silencing her. BB-60 USS Alabama. The Lucky A. She weathered typhoons and kamikazes without suffering a single combat fatality aboard. She led the fleet into Tokyo Bay, a symbol of the unstoppable nature of the U.S. Navy. The Iowa-class BB-61 USS Iowa. The Big Stick. Fast, lethal in carrying the president to conferences. She was equipped with a bathtub specifically for FDR and hunted the German battleship Tirpitz before transferring to the Pacific to crush the Japanese. BB-62 USS New Jersey, the Black Dragon, the most decorated battleship in naval history. She served from World War II all the way to the 1990s, shelling jungles in Vietnam and launching Tomahawk missiles into the desert during Desert Storm. BB-63 USS Missouri. Mighty Mo. The site of the Japanese surrender. This is where the deadliest war in human history officially ended, on her teak decks under the shadow of her massive guns. BB-64 USS Wisconsin. Temper. Famous for her accuracy and her attitude. During the Korean War, after taking a single shell hit, she responded by deleting the entire enemy artillery position with a full broadside. Incomplete hulls. We can't forget the ghosts. BB-49 through BB-54 were the original 1920 South Dakota class, monsters that were canceled by treaty before they could ever fight. BB-65 Illinois. An Iowa-class hull that was laid down but ultimately scrapped. She was a victim of the shifting tides of war as the aircraft carrier took center stage. BB-66 Kentucky, the last battleship hull ever worked on. She was launched but never finished. Her bow actually cut off and used to repair the USS Wisconsin after a collision. From the coal-fired engines of the 1890s to the missile-firing refits of the 1990s, these 59 hulls represented the absolute peak of American industrial capacity and naval dominance. They were the steel walls that protected the free world.